Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bad Bookers Wrestling podcast. My name is Jack, and today we are reviewing Monday Night Raw. A Raw that I didn't manage to catch live because I was working at Leeds Festival over the weekend, and I crashed come Monday and had like 15 hours sleep, and during that 15 hours sleep Raw happened, and I managed to watch it earlier today. It was an alright Raw. It wasn't special. Yeah, it was just average at best. We started out with Roman Reigns coming out, talking about Braun Strowman. They had some beef over Twitter recently. Braun Strowman came out and said that he doesn't need to cash in his Money in the Bank. He's not doing it tonight because he's already cashed it in. He's cashed it in, his Money in the Bank contract, for Hell in a Cell, where him and Roman will meet inside the cell to face off for the Universal Championship, which I don't think we've seen an advanced cash-in since Rob Van Dam. I might be wrong. It might have happened when I wasn't watching wrestling at the time. But the last one I remember is Rob Van Dam against Cena. I can't really see Strowman losing it, but some shenanigans is probably going to happen for Roman to keep it, maybe. I'm not too sure. You don't really want your big monster character to have the fact that he failed to cash in his Money in the Bank looming over him all the time. But we'll have to wait and see. Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler came out and said they needed a new challenge. And they saw the two in the ring and thought, yes, that's the new challenge. So Baron Corbin came out and set up the match at Hell in a Cell between Braun and Roman. And he set up the main event of Monday Night Raw, which was going to be a tag team match between Dolph and Drew and Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. So very interesting indeed going into the main event. Corbin stuck out there, said in the ring, right, I'm going to make a match right now. I've prepared for it all week. He hasn't known about it. It's going to be me versus Finn Balor. So we're still getting Baron Corbin and Finn Balor matches, because that's what we really wanted. And Finn came out. It was an average match. Baron Corbin hit Finn with a chair. He got DQ'd. He then went over to the ring, the bell area, what was it called, and said, "Oh, it's a no DQ match, by the way. I forgot to mention that because I'm so busy being acting general manager." And the ref restarted the match. He once again hit Finn with the chair, hit him with the end of days, and Baron Corbin won again. Yeah, it sounds messy as it was. It was messy. Moving swiftly on, we had a match between Sasha and Dana Brooke. I remember the entrances. I don't remember the match. So that was interesting, clearly. Sasha made Dana Brooke tap out, which is expected. You're not going to have Dana Brooke go over Sasha Banks. Yeah, there's not much more to say on that. Sasha made Dana tap. It's the standard. Apparently Dana Brooke hasn't had a singles match on Raw for 9 months. There you go. That's what Apollo Crews said, apparently. So, surprising. Next up, we had a very, very good match between the Intercontinental Champion even, Seth Rollins, who issued out an open challenge, and none other than Canada's own Kevin Owens popped up and answered the challenge. Obviously, being in Canada, he got a massive pop, but apparently Montreal and Raw's hosts of Toronto, they have some beef, apparently. And I call him Kev like I know him, Kevin Owens said that, you know, he can't think of a better place than to get the Intercontinental Championship. And then he said, oh, I can think of another place, Montreal, because it's much better than here. Apparently they got beef. So yeah, that happened. He spoke French to them. I'm assuming he was saying some heelish things. The match started. It was a very, very good match. Kevin Owens hit stunners. Seth Rollins just his standards. You know, Seth Rollins, he's always good. They just got a lot of chemistry together. You can tell they've had a fair few matches between each other, whether it be on the indies or when they were feuding before. But Kevin Owens he tried to hit a moonsault off the top rope where he was facing towards the ring. He then jumped up, turned around, landed on the top rope again and moonsaulted off. But Seth had moved out the way, hit him with a curb stomp, and Seth retained his title. And then it went over to the commentary desk, and I think it went over to the commentary desk, or there was a promo with Baron Corbin or something. It might have been Braun giving Baron his money in the bank. And then it cut back to the ring. Kevin Owens was just sat in the ring. Not saying anything, he just got a chair and he was sat in the ring. And he didn't say anything, like I said, until he muttered 2 simple words of "I quit." What are they going to do? Is he quit for real? Are we being worked? If I had to guess, I would say keep him out until the Rumble. At least because if he returns at the Rumble, it would be the biggest pop you'd ever hear. I don't know when Sami Zayn's back, but if him and Sami can return on... If Sami's ready for the Rumble, if him and Sami can return on the same night, it would just be like... midway through the Rumble, say 15 and 16, it would just be the biggest pops of the night. Just don't bring him back too early. If you're gonna... Don't do a Dolph Ziggler kind of thing, because it was around... Was it around this time that Dolph quit last year? I can't remember. It must be sometime around this time of the year where Dolph quit last year and then he returns really unspectacularly at the Rumble. But obviously they've done it a little bit earlier probably this year with Kevin Owens. And I would say get him for the Rumble. If Sami's ready for the Rumble, get them both for the Rumble. You guaranteed a massive pop for that. But yeah, at this moment of time, Kevin Owens is no more in WWE apparently. Next up, we had a tag team match. I don't like these kinds of matches. It was a tag team match between the Revival and the B team, but it wasn't a title match. It was to see if the Revival could get another shot at the B team. I don't like these matches. Like, just make a number 1 contender match between the Revival and another tag team and have the Revival win, because it just makes your tag team champions look weak. Like, it made Carmella look really weak when both Charlotte and Becky beat her. Charlotte and Becky are better than Carmella, but she's champion at the end of the day. They shouldn't be beating Carmella to get title shots when it's Carmella's title, if you get what I mean. It's just weird. The Revival won against the B team, and next week on Raw they're going to have their tag team title matchup, which I'm still hoping the Revival win, because, you know, the B team are good and all, they're still entertaining, but their reign as tag team champions hasn't got me enthralled, to say the least. But moving on, we had a massive return ahead of this all-women's pay-per-view Evolution. We had the return of Trish Stratus as she interrupted Elias's concert thingy while he ran down the city of Toronto. Obviously Trish is from Toronto, so it made sense. So that was good. And it was weird because it kind of like mixed in as well with the next match, which was Natalya versus Alicia Fox. It kind of just all meshed together kind of thing. But yeah, Trish slapped the piss out of Elias, and then came out Ronda and Natalya, and then Alicia Fox and Alexa Bliss came out, who also brought out Mickie James. A nice little, you know, throwback to their past feud, Trish and Mickie James, is what I'm going to say. Natalya defeated Alicia Fox in quite simple fashion, and we had a backstage interview afterwards where they're all celebrating the win, and none other than the great Bella Twins came out. I'm not going to get into it because everyone knows how I feel about the Bella Twins. I ranted a lot on Twitter, and I said my piece on the podcast last week. But the Bella Twins are back. They are fighting next week. They will be fighting the Riot Squad, so no doubt the Riot Squad are going to just bow down to the Bella Twins, even though all three are probably better than the Bella Twins. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to it at all. Why have they fed them the Riot Squad as well? It's just, I don't know what to say. I don't want to see it. Okay, if you do want to see it, then fair play to you, but I just can't stand the Bella Twins. They were the problem with the women's division, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it. Like I said, I've got a load more to say, but I'm not going to get into it. Next up, we had Backstage Segment with Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley. And Bobby Lashley said to... Baron Corbin even said to Bobby Lashley, "You've got a match right now. So you need to get out to the ring. I can't remember who it's against, but you need to get out to the ring and your opponent will come out." And Bobby was like, "Yeah, cool. I'll get out to the ring." So he goes out to the ring, stands there waiting for his opponent, and Baron Corbin comes up on the Titantron and says, "Oh, I've remembered who it is, but it's not just one person, it's two people." And everyone's like, "Interesting. Who can it be? Is it another return? It's the Ascension." Bobby Lashley just absolutely buried them even further than they already are. I forgot the Ascension were even on the roster. It was like a 5-minute match where Bobby Lashley just destroyed them. Yeah, poor Ascension. They were so good in NXT, but main roster, it's just not really for them, isn't it? Next up, we had a match between Dean Ambrose and Jinder Mahal. Fairly straightforward match. Dean Ambrose picking up the win because he's not going to lose. Still a decent match, you know. It gives Dean a little bit of take away a bit of his ring rust, if you will. Obviously, he's been out for quite a while. He's been in the Performance Center for a bit, but there's a difference between being in the Performance Center and actually wrestling a match in front of a crowd of people. Just gives him another win, ties him over for another week, takes off that bit of ring rust, and yeah, he still looks good. Jinder Mahal looked decent. Still don't get his jobber gimmick where he's shouting shanty every week, but hey ho, it's Jinder Mahal. He's dropped a fair way down the card since his title run. Just gonna have to see what happens with him. And Dean Ambrose, we'll talk about him in a second, when we had this Universal Champion Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman versus Dolph and Drew match. It ended in a DQ for Roman and Braun to win, but not via any chair shots or anything like that. Roman was getting absolutely torn apart by Dolph and Drew. Very good tag team wrestling. They were keeping them in their corner, splitting the ring, as I think they say, or cutting the ring. And Roman managed to get out, tag Braun in, but Braun just stayed out on the apron. He just stayed out there. He looked at Drew, he looked at Dolph. Drew brought Roman back into the ring and they started beating the piss out of him until the ref just had to call a DQ. And then Braun got into the ring, just stared at Drew and Dolph, and then started laying into Roman himself. And then we had Dean come back out, tried to save the day. He got beaten down. We then had Seth come back out, who had a banged up shoulder from his match from Kevin Owens. He got just thrown to the side. And we seem to have this 6-man tag match ready and waiting whenever they want to pull it off. Between The Shield and Strowman, Dolph and Drew. It's a really weird partnership. I was all for like a Wyatt family reunion kind of thing, but they've gone this way. Dolph and Drew, at least it puts Dolph and Drew into the main event picture, which, you know, that's great. It's one step closer to Drew being Universal Champion, which everyone wants. And like, I can understand why it's happened. It's just such a weird combination to have, because Braun Strowman shouldn't need any help because he's a monster at the end of the day. But like I said, I don't mind it because Drew McIntyre's in the main event picture. What can you say? That's all well and good in my eyes. And yeah, that was Raw. It was nothing special, nothing to write home about. It wasn't bad in my opinion. It was just average at best. Nothing really happening except for obviously the announcement of the cash-in at Hell in a Cell and the Kevin Owens thing, which is all a bit interesting, and we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, average Raw. There's been betters, but there's been worse Raws in my opinion. But that has been that. And if you like this review, please like, please subscribe if you are new around here or you haven't done so already. Podcasts, I don't know when the podcast is coming out this week because I'm not going to be in it and I'm not going to be editing it, and because I'm working again over another festival, so I won't be able to be there. So, but if you've got any questions, leave them down below. Leave any questions over on our Twitter page at BadBookersWP, and I'm sure the guys who are doing the podcast will be able to answer them for you. And yeah, please like, please subscribe, comment any questions, and I shall see you later on, I guess, for a SmackDown Live review. Thank you very much for watching.